Welcome to Zoe Stories. Caught trying on lingerie, now I'm the star of her fashion blog. My name's Alex Harris, and I've always thought of myself as ordinary. Not in a self-pitying way, just realistic. I'm 25, work as a freelance graphic designer, and spend most of my time behind a screen, fixing other people's visions, making things pretty, functional, and quiet. Which, funny enough, is exactly how people would describe me. Pretty functional. Quiet. My world is soft grays and deep blues, muted tones that don't attract attention. Except, I live with Emma Rivera, a storm in heels, fire wrapped in silk, and a rising fashion influencer whose life is anything but muted. Our apartment, which we share in the heart of the city, is like stepping into a boutique magazine cover. Every surface gleams. Her closet bursts with textures and color. A ring light lives in the living room corner, permanently set up for, just-in-case, inspiration. I've accidentally tripped over boxes filled with PR samples more times than I can count. And Emma? She floats through it all like a goddess. 6-inch heels, sharp eyeliner, that knowing smirk on her lips like she owns the world. She's magnetic. Even her laughter feels curated, bold, polished, and effortless. She loves what she does. And I love watching her do it. But sometimes, I wonder if she remembers I'm there. We've been together for over 2 years. I know she cares. She always kisses me goodnight, always asks how my day was. But the space between us feels wider now, like I'm standing at the edge of her glittering world, afraid to step in, afraid I'll dim the sparkle. Maybe that's why I've always been afraid to talk about my secret. It's not something I've ever said out loud, not even in a whisper to myself. But it's there. In the way I glance at her when she's slipping into stockings. In how my fingers linger when folding her lacy bras during laundry. In the quiet burn of curiosity when she steps into a dress and twirls with a laugh. I've never dressed up. Never dared. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was scared of what it might mean. What it might unlock. What she might think of me if she ever knew. The opportunity came by accident. Emma had to fly to Paris for a last-minute fashion event, a 3-day trip. She was giddy with nerves and excitement the morning she left, racing around the apartment while trying on shoes, packing designer gowns, and filming a Get Ready With Me vlog all at once. She kissed me goodbye at the door, a light peck, half distracted, and said, "Don't mess up the lighting setup, babe. And try not to live off instant noodles." And just like that, I was alone. For the first few hours, it was peaceful. I made coffee, caught up on work, and even played some video games, without her complaining about background noise during filming. But by the second day, the silence felt deafening. No packages arrived. No lights turned on. The racks of clothing stood still like fashion ghosts haunting the living room. Her voice, normally humming to herself or chatting on live streams, was gone. I missed her. More than I expected. But what I didn't expect was how much I started noticing everything else. Her perfume, a mix of vanilla and jasmine, still lingered in the bedroom. Her vanity mirror, surrounded by tiny round lights, reflected a carefully arranged army of makeup brushes. The closet door, always slightly ajar, tempted with slivers of red velvet, pink lace, and shimmering fabrics. I told myself I was just bored, just exploring, just curious. That's when I saw it. Laid out neatly across the bed was a new set of lingerie, deep burgundy lace with satin ribbons and golden hardware. A bra, matching panties, and garter straps, freshly unpacked with tissue paper still peeking from beneath. A small tag hung off the bra's strap, scribbled in Emma's sharp cursive. "Try this for Monday's shoot." I froze. It was like the air shifted around me. I didn't mean to touch it, but I did. My fingers hovered over the bra's cup, brushing the lace, tracing the edges. It was so delicate, feminine, forbidden. And that's when the voice in my head whispered, "No one's home." The door was locked. No one was watching. The room was still. I looked at myself in the vanity mirror, unshaven, wearing a loose hoodie and sweats, eyes tired from too many late nights. "What are you doing, Alex?" But the question came too late. Almost without realizing it, I stepped out of my clothes. My skin prickled as I picked up the panties, slowly, nervously stepping into them. They clung to my hips, hugging tight in places I never expected. Then the bra, a struggle, awkward to clasp behind me, but once it clicked into place, my heart skipped a beat. I didn't recognize the person in the mirror. I looked ridiculous, but also strangely elegant. Softer. Like a shadow of someone I'd buried a long time ago. Someone who finally saw the light. I sat at Emma's vanity, heart pounding, and ran a hand through my messy hair. I reached out, slowly touching her blush palette. Then her lip gloss. Then the mascara. I told myself, just once. Just for a minute. Then I'll take it all off. But deep down, I didn't want to. I didn't want to stop. Because in that moment, something inside me bloomed, thrilling, terrifying, and intoxicating. It wasn't just about the lingerie. It was about feeling something real for the first time in months. I told myself it would just be one time. A moment of weakness. A secret that would vanish like steam the second I slipped out of the bra and panties and shoved them back onto the bed. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the version of me in the mirror, not just dressed in Emma's lingerie, but feeling something real. Something alive. The lace had left behind a ghost on my skin. The whisper of silk, the tickle of a strap, the way my chest rose and fell differently when framed by delicate fabric. I tried to distract myself with work. I answered emails, designed a landing page, even edited a boring company logo into 4 different variants, just to stay busy. It didn't help. By mid-morning the next day, the lingerie was calling me again. Not literally, but emotionally. Like it had awakened a hunger that was now clawing at my insides. I stood outside Emma's closet for a full minute, hand hovering near the doorknob. "No one will know," I whispered. And I opened it. The scent hit me first, sweet perfumes, shampoo, leather, a hint of floral body spray. The inside of her closet was its own universe. Soft sweaters, sequin tops, leather skirts, silky nightgowns, corsets, and heels upon heels. My eyes were drawn to a short, off-the-shoulder black dress, slinky, elegant, and bold. I remembered Emma wearing it on our anniversary. She looked like a movie star that night. I slid it off the hanger with shaking hands. I dressed slowly, reverently. Panties first, then I stepped into the dress. It hugged me tightly, stretching over my chest and hips. I wasn't built like her. My waist wasn't as narrow, my legs hairier, my arms broader, but when I looked in the mirror, something still clicked. I looked transformed. Not perfect, not passable, but different. The wig came next. A dark brown bob she used for sponsored posts with a vintage aesthetic. I adjusted it in front of her vanity, careful not to ruin the styling. Then came the makeup. At first, I was clumsy, unsure how much foundation to use, how to blend. But her tutorials echoed in my mind. I remembered watching over her shoulder as she filmed them. I mimicked her motions, dab, blend, sweep, smudge. It wasn't perfect, but it was me and it was enough. When I applied the lipstick, a deep rose red, I didn't even recognize my own reflection anymore. I didn't want to go back. I posed a little in front of the mirror, cocked my hip, twirled lightly in the dress. I stepped into her 4-inch nude heels, wobbled, caught myself, laughed, then walked again. With each click of the heel on the hardwood, I felt more me. Not the version I had to be, but the version I had buried so long ago. I didn't know what this meant. I didn't have words for it. I just knew that I never wanted to take it off. I made tea and sat by the window in full Emma glam. The sunlight touched the edge of my cheekbone, and I smiled. Until I heard it. A knock. Sudden. Sharp. I froze. The teacup nearly slipped from my hands. Was it the door? Another knock. This one lighter. My heart launched into my throat. My feet, in heels, moved before I could think. I stumbled toward the hallway, trying to stay quiet. Then a voice, faint, muffled, called through the door. "Package for Emma Rivera." I exhaled so hard my knees gave out. Delivery. Just a damn delivery. But I couldn't answer like this. If I opened the door, even for 1 second, whoever stood outside would see me. I stood there in silence, pressed against the wall, not breathing. Eventually, I heard retreating footsteps, the elevator ding. When it was silent again, I slid to the floor, heart racing, palms sweating. That was too close. Way too close. I peeled the dress off slowly this time. Not in shame, but in something else. Conflict. Grief? Longing? I carefully removed the wig, wiped away the makeup, folded the dress, and placed it neatly back. Each item went back into its place. The illusion, the fantasy, hidden again. But it didn't feel like hiding anymore. It felt like denying something. As I stared at my reflection, no makeup, no clothes, just boxers and a plain t-shirt, I realized how empty I looked compared to just an hour ago. The version of me in the mirror now wasn't the real me. The one in the dress was. And that terrified me. The next morning, I woke up thinking about the lipstick. Not Emma. Not work. Not breakfast. The lipstick. It was still sitting on the vanity. Deep rose red, the same one I'd applied the day before. I remembered how it looked on me under the soft lights. How it changed the shape of my face, softened the angles. How it made my eyes look alive. I knew I shouldn't. But the second my morning coffee was done, I found myself opening the closet again. This time, there was no hesitation. The tights slid up my legs more smoothly. The padded bra fit like a glove. I picked a silky blush pink blouse and paired it with a flared black skirt. I even found one of Emma's waist cinchers, a stretchy band with hooks that gave the illusion of curves. The makeup was more confident today. I knew where the blush should sit, how to shape my brows. I tried a winged eyeliner, messed up, wiped it, tried again. I spent nearly an hour adjusting everything. And when I was done, when the wig was fixed and the heels were on, I didn't just look different. I looked like someone real. I looked like her. That's when the idea struck me. Emma always filmed using the ring light in the living room. She had her phone tripod there, her wireless remote, and dozens of props for posing. She had spent hours adjusting the lighting for maximum glow. I found her backup phone, the one she used to test lighting and angles. She wouldn't miss it. She'd even told me I could use it if I ever wanted to play around with filming. I did. With trembling fingers, I set up the camera. At first, I just posed. Stood in front of the light. Mimicked her stance. One hip out, chin slightly down, lips pursed. Then I tried a smile. A flirty laugh. I twirled in the skirt, watching it lift around my thighs. Then I hit record. "Hi guys," I said in a soft, teasing voice. "Today I'm trying this new blush pink look. I love how it flatters the cheekbones." I laughed at myself. It was silly, ridiculous. But the moment the words came out, a wave of electric joy surged through me. I wasn't Alex anymore. I was someone else. Someone bold. Someone who could stand under a spotlight and say, "Look at me." I filmed for almost 10 minutes, describing the look, trying different angles, walking toward the camera and away. I even did a mock outfit breakdown, the way Emma always did. These heels are from Luxe Rush. The skirt is from Minette. I couldn't stop smiling. After filming, I collapsed on the couch in my outfit, laughing breathlessly. For a moment, I forgot about the world. Forgot about fear. There was only warmth, light, and the thrill of finally being seen, even if only by a camera. I transferred the video to Emma's laptop, wanting to watch it on a bigger screen. She had a fashion blog folder on her desktop with hundreds of videos, thumbnails, and brand drafts. I made a new folder inside, test shots, and dropped my video into it. I figured I'd watch it later, maybe edit a few screenshots for myself. Then I got hungry. Still in full glam, I made myself toast and sat at the table, legs crossed under my skirt, admiring the bounce of the wig and the feel of the tights on my skin. It felt like the most natural thing in the world. I didn't notice what I'd done. Didn't realize that Emma's laptop had an auto-sync feature connected to her cloud folder. Or that her phone, the one in her hand in Paris, received a notification the second I uploaded the video to her fashion blog directory. At that moment, I was blissfully unaware. But far away in a hotel room, Emma's brows furrowed as she watched a file titled Test Shots pop up next to her latest sponsored skincare video. Curious, she clicked it. Back home, I wiped off the lipstick. My mood had shifted. As thrilling as it had been, a creeping sense of guilt returned. What was I doing? Pretending to be her? Playing with her brand, her tools, her image? I carefully put everything back in place. But it was too late. The video had been seen. That evening, I sat at my desk, freshly showered and back in jeans and a t-shirt, trying to return to my regular life. But nothing felt right. I couldn't focus on my design work. The lines blurred. The fonts felt meaningless. My mind kept replaying the twirl I'd done in the pink blouse, the curve of the lipstick on my lips, the voice I'd used on camera. It hadn't just felt fun. It had felt true. I minimized the window and stared out of the apartment window. Dusk was settling in, painting the buildings in shades of gold and lilac. Somewhere far away, a siren wailed. That's when my phone buzzed. Emma, hey babe, you used the laptop today? I blinked. The message wasn't unusual, but something about it felt off. My chest tightened. Me. Yeah, just checking some files.
Why?
There was a pause. Emma, just wondering. Did you move the tan heels from the living room? My stomach dropped. I hadn't realized I left those heels out. I thought I'd put them back on the lower rack of her closet, right where I found them. I remembered sliding them under the dresses, heel to heel, like a soldier putting gear back in line. But what if I hadn't? Me. Not that I remember. Maybe they shifted when I cleaned? Emma. Okay. You sure you didn't try them on? LOL. My hands froze over the keyboard. That emoji, felt like a spotlight cutting through my soul. She knew. Or at least suspected. I stared at the screen, unsure how to respond. My brain raced, thinking of ways to play it cool, deny, laugh it off. Me. LOL what? Not really my thing, babe. Another long pause. Emma, right. Just felt like someone had fun around here. My throat tightened. I looked around the apartment like she might appear from thin air. I stood up and went to the closet, yanking it open. The heels were there, but not exactly where I remembered leaving them. One heel was turned slightly outward, not aligned with the other. And the vanity chair had been moved a few inches from its original spot. Did I do that? Or was I just imagining it? I rushed to the laptop, opened the desktop, clicked the fashion blog folder. No test shots. Not even in the trash bin. It was gone.
Completely.
I checked the cloud sync history. My heart nearly stopped when I saw it. The file I had uploaded, test_shot1.mp4, had been accessed.
Viewed.
Downloaded. Then deleted. All synced within minutes of when I'd been making toast earlier. She saw it. She saw everything. I felt like the room tilted. A dizzy wave of adrenaline crashed through me. Was she angry?
Amused?
Horrified? She hadn't said anything directly. No accusations. No explosion. Just suggestive texts, vague clues, teasing emojis. The uncertainty gnawed at me. I shut the laptop and stood still in the silence, trying to steady my breath. My reflection in the darkened window stared back, pale, anxious, unrecognizable. The next few hours passed like a blur. I cleaned. Frantically. Scrubbed the vanity. Wiped the makeup brushes. Checked every drawer. Rehung the dresses I'd touched. Took the wig out of the bathroom and brushed it gently before placing it back in its storage box. I even refolded Emma's panties drawer, terrified I'd messed up the arrangement. It felt like covering a crime scene. And yet, part of me felt something else. A strange, aching grief. Because in all that cleaning, all that hiding, I was erasing her. The woman I'd become just hours ago. The one who twirled in the light, who smiled into the camera, who felt beautiful. She was gone again. And I didn't know if she'd ever return. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept waiting for another message. A confrontation. A phone call. But nothing came. Emma posted on her Instagram story like normal, snaps from the Paris hotel, a runway selfie, a cafe photo with a flaky croissant. No mention of me. No mention of the video. Just smiles and filters. Like everything was perfectly fine. And that was somehow worse. At 3 a.m., I sat alone on the couch, still wearing the same plain hoodie I'd thrown on hours ago, and opened the video folder one last time. The test shots folder was still gone. But in the trash, I saw a file, a single photo, extracted from the video. Not deleted, but moved. It was a still frame. Me, in the pink blouse, smiling confidently into the camera, hand on hip, lip gloss shimmering, eyes lit with joy. And written underneath the file name was a caption. Nail polish looks like someone has potential. I was still staring at the photo when I heard the key in the lock. My stomach dropped. It was too early. Emma wasn't supposed to be back until tomorrow night. She said she had a final brand brunch, a photo shoot by the Seine, then her flight. But I heard it, the unmistakable click of our apartment door unlocking. I bolted upright from the couch, heart thundering in my ears. The photo,
The file.
the trash bin, the vanity, the heels. Was everything back where it should be?
Too late now.
The door opened and there she was.
Emma.
Wearing a black trench coat over a cream blouse, suitcase in one hand, phone in the other. Her hair was pulled into a sleek bun, lips matte red, sunglasses still on even though it was night. She looked like she'd stepped out of a Parisian dream. Her eyes scanned the room. I froze like prey. "Oh," she said, almost casually. "You're up." My mouth opened. Nothing came out. She dropped her bag by the door and pulled off her sunglasses, revealing sharp, observant eyes. She glanced around the apartment like she was checking for something. Or someone. "Flight landed early," she said. "I didn't feel like staying another night. Thought I'd surprise you." I tried to smile, but it felt like my face was made of stone. "That's great," I choked out. "I missed you." She walked over slowly, graceful as ever, and bent down to kiss me. Her lips brushed mine lightly. Then she paused and looked at me longer than usual. There was something behind her gaze. Something knowing. Her eyes flicked briefly toward the vanity. "You clean while I was gone?" she asked. My throat tightened.
A bit. Yeah.
She walked past me, casually shrugging off her coat. Her heels clicked softly on the floor as she made her way into the bedroom. I heard the soft creak of the closet door opening. I couldn't breathe. Then her voice floated out. "You wear the pink blouse?" A knife through my chest. I stood frozen in the hallway. "What?" She emerged from the bedroom holding the exact blouse I'd worn 2 days ago. Her nails drummed lightly on the hanger.
This one.
"It smells like foundation." "Not mine." I couldn't lie. Not convincingly. Not anymore. I swallowed hard. I just tried it on. For a minute. She didn't react immediately. Just looked at the blouse like it was an exhibit. Then her eyes met mine. "Did you like it?" That question hit me harder than any accusation would have. I faltered. It was stupid. I was just curious. "You weren't here and you filmed it." I went pale. How did you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Clouds sink. You dropped it right into my work folder." Smooth. I wanted the floor to open and swallow me whole. Emma walked toward me, blouse still in hand. Her expression unreadable, a strange mix of sternness and amusement. "You wore my clothes. My shoes. My makeup." I nodded miserably. "Yes. You stood in front of my ring light and pretended to be me." I didn't mean, I wasn't mocking, I looked away. It felt nice. Silence. Long, heavy. Silence. Then her voice, soft, but deliberate. "Why didn't you tell me, Alex?" My mouth quivered. Because I didn't know how. Because I didn't even fully know what it was myself. Tears stung my eyes. Because I was scared you'd hate me. Emma didn't speak. She looked at me, really looked at me, then walked to the vanity. She picked something up and walked back. The lipstick. The same one I had used. She held it between her fingers and said quietly, "Sit." I blinked. "What?" "Sit," she repeated. "Vanity."
Now.
I obeyed, heart hammering, not knowing if I was about to be punished, mocked, or pitted. She stood behind me, looking into the mirror with me, both of our reflections side by side. Her expression was calm, focused. Then, slowly, she opened the lipstick. Her fingers tilted my chin upward. My lips parted instinctively. She applied it, slow, gentle strokes, expertly tracing the outline, filling it in with color. When she was done, she smiled faintly. "There," she said. "Now your camera ready." My hands trembled in my lap. "Emma." But she placed a finger gently on my lips.
"Sure," she said.
"We're not done yet." Emma moved with quiet precision, picking up a makeup brush, then a powder compact, tapping it lightly, as if preparing for a normal shoot. Only nothing about this was normal. I sat still at the vanity, unable to look at her in the mirror. My lips were freshly painted, glowing under the golden ring light. I could still feel the warm pressure of her fingers on my chin. My heart pounded with a dangerous cocktail of shame and something else I wasn't ready to name. She gently brushed blush across my cheeks. "Close your eyes," she said. I obeyed. I felt the featherlight sweep of shadow over my eyelids, the tickle of the brush. Then mascara. Then a spritz of setting spray. Every touch was precise, intentional, intimate. When I opened my eyes again, the person in the mirror was no longer just pretending. He was vanishing. She was emerging. Emma smiled faintly at my expression. "You see it now, don't you?" I nodded slowly.
"Yeah."
She turned the chair so I was facing her directly now, not just a reflection. "Tell me, Alex. Or whatever name you feel fits better right now."
She paused.
"Why this?" I hesitated, but her eyes didn't push, just invited. "I don't know," I said quietly. "Not fully. It started with curiosity. Little things. The way your clothes felt when I touched them. The way you moved when you got dressed. It made me feel something I couldn't explain." Her eyes didn't blink. "So you tried it?" I nodded. And I didn't expect to feel beautiful. Or free. Or like I was meeting a version of myself I didn't know I was allowed to be. Emma crossed her arms, resting one hip against the vanity. "And were you scared of that version?" I swallowed, terrified. She leaned in closer. "And yet you looked into the camera like you were born for it." I exhaled shakily. I don't know who that person was, but it felt right. Emma was quiet, not judging, just watching me like I was an unfolding puzzle. Then she reached for something on the vanity, a silver chain necklace with a delicate pearl. She walked behind me and clipped it around my neck. The cold pearl rested just above my collarbone, a perfect accent against the makeup and light. Then she stepped back. "Well," she said calmly, "if you're going to crash my fashion world, we might as well do it properly." My brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" She smirked. "A test shoot." My breath hitched. "Wait, what?" She walked across the room and opened the wardrobe. With one practice motion, she slid open the full-length mirror and pulled out a deep burgundy cocktail dress. The same one I had admired secretly for months. "Try this," she said, holding it out to me. I stared at it, heart racing. "I can't," I whispered. "You can." "But, Emma, this isn't a game. I don't even know who I am when I do this. I'm not a girl. I'm not sure what I am. This could just be a weird phase or—" She knelt in front of me, looked me dead in the eye. "Alex, or whatever name you might one day choose. I don't need you to be certain." She smiled softly. "I just need you to be honest." I took the dress. My fingers trembled against the satin. It was soft, cool to the touch, but burned like fire in my hands. Emma turned away, giving me space. "I'm not going to watch," she said gently. "Not until you're ready." I slipped behind the changing screen, peeled off the loose hoodie, jeans, t-shirt. Each layer that fell felt like another wall breaking down. The zipper glided up my back. It fit. It fit. Not perfectly, not like it was tailored, but enough. Enough to feel like it belonged to me. Like I belonged in it. I stepped out slowly. Emma turned. Her expression softened instantly. She walked over, adjusted the neckline, tucked a strand of wig hair behind my ear. Then she stepped back and nodded once, as if approving a final touch on one of her models.
Ready, she said.
I don't know. That's good, she replied. Let's capture that feeling. The ring light hummed softly. The soft backdrop Emma pinned up was a pale peach, flattering, feminine, dreamlike. She adjusted her camera, muttering technical terms under her breath. I stood in the center of it all, in her burgundy dress, heels slightly wobbling beneath me, every part of me exposed, yet somehow more complete than I'd ever been in my life. My hands clutched each other nervously. You okay? She asked. No, I whispered. But I'm not running. Emma smiled. Good. She picked up the camera and raised it to her eye. Let's begin. The shutter clicked. I flinched. Relax your shoulders. I tried. Let your hands fall naturally. Chin down. Yes, that's it. Another click. You're doing better than you think, she said. This isn't about perfection. It's about truth.
Click, click, click.
With each photo, I felt something shift. My posture straightened. My arms loosened. I tried to smile, not the forced kind I gave to coworkers, but something shy, unsure, honest. Emma set the camera down, turned to the side. Look back at me. I obeyed. She walked over, adjusted the wig, then reached for a silver clip and pinned one side behind my ear. You look beautiful, she said, voice low. I blinked hard. No, I whispered. I look confusing. Beauty and confusion aren't enemies, she replied. Sometimes they live in the same mirror. I looked at myself through the lens now. The makeup,
The dress,
the subtle arch of my brow. The soft lighting made my cheekbones pop, my lips gleam. And beneath it all, me. A version I hadn't known I needed to meet. We took more photos. This time, she directed me with warmth. Each pose built confidence, chipped away at the shame. I began to feel graceful.
poised, seen.
Then came the hard part. She sat next to me on the couch, scrolling through the images. You need to see yourself the way I do, she said. I hesitated, then looked. There I was. Dozens of me's. Smiling. Laughing. Looking over my shoulder. Hands in my hair. Knees together. Heels pointed inward like every influencer I'd seen her coach. But it wasn't cosplay. It wasn't a joke. It was real. And that broke me. Tears welled up in my eyes. I've never felt this before, I choked. Like I was supposed to exist this way. Emma didn't say anything. She reached for her phone, thumbed through a few apps, then paused on one of the pictures. It was the first shot she took, the most vulnerable one. My eyes were wide, uncertain, my hands gently touching my collarbone. I'm going to post this, she said calmly. I stared. What? On the blog page. No tags. No caption. Just the photo. I stood up. Emma, no, please, I can't. You can. But what if they think it's weird? What if your followers judge you? What if my friends see? My job. She stood with me, looked me dead in the eye. You want to hide her again? She asked softly. Put her back in the closet like a costume? I couldn't speak. Emma reached for my hand. If this was just playtime, we wouldn't be standing here. You wouldn't be crying. You wouldn't look at the mirror like you're finally whole. She took a deep breath. You don't have to say you're a woman, or a girl, or non-binary. You don't need a label. But you do need to honor the part of you that feels real in this dress. Silence. She held up her phone again. I'll ask one more time. She showed me the photo. The version of me I'd never known. Vulnerable.
Alive.
Glowing. Can I post this? She asked. I stared at it. And finally I nodded. Yes. She hit post. The caption was empty. Just a heart emoji. I sat down, heart hammering. The photo was out there. For everyone. I felt naked.
Exposed.
Terrified. But also electric. The screen refreshed. First like. Second. Comment. This is gorgeous. Who's the model? New muse? Loving the softness in this one. My mouth fell open. Another comment. She looks stunning. That smile. Emma looked at me. They don't know it's you. Yet. I swallowed. Do you want them to? She smiled faintly. Do you? It was past midnight, but neither of us could sleep. The photo had been up for 2 hours. Thousands of likes. Dozens of comments. DMs buzzing. Emma's followers didn't question the identity of the new model. Most assumed it was someone she'd found in Paris. A few asked if it was her cousin. A few even said things like, "She looks just like you too would if you had a sister." I paced the living room in the heels I still hadn't taken off. My legs were aching, but I didn't care. I felt more alive than I had in years. Emma lounged on the couch, phone in hand, quietly scrolling through her DMs. She looked so calm, like she'd known this would happen all along. I turned to her. You really think this can work? She looked up. Do you mean the shoot or this version of you? I hesitated. Both. Emma stood, walked over, and gently fixed my hair. You don't have to decide everything tonight. She picked up the same burgundy dress I'd worn and held it delicately. But I will say this. I've worked with models, influencers, actresses, and none of them gave me what you gave me tonight. What's that? Honesty. Her eyes met mine. You didn't pose. You didn't perform. You became. That's rare. I looked away. But it's not real. This isn't sustainable. I have a job, a life, friends who'd never understand. She stopped me with a soft hand on my cheek. What if I told you a brand reached out while I was on the plane home? I blinked. What?
She showed me a DM.
Femuse PR. We're expanding our soft glam collection. Loved the recent post. Who's the model?
Can we talk collab?
I stared at the screen, stunned. They think I'm a real model. Emma smiled slyly. You are.
You just didn't know it yet.
I backed away, shaking my head. Emma, I'm not ready. I can't be in campaigns. I don't even know who I am. She stepped toward me. You don't have to define it. Not today. But maybe. She hesitated, then added, maybe the world is ready for Alexandra, even if you're not. The name hit me like a lightning bolt. Alexandra. It wasn't foreign. It wasn't wrong. It felt warm. She placed the phone in my hand. If you want, we can try it. One collab. Just one. You don't have to speak or show your real name. Just show her. My hands were shaking. Before I could respond, I got a buzz. My phone. I picked it up. Notification. Instagram tag from @EmmaVisuals. Post. The face of something new. And there I was, that same photo, but this time, tagged @Alex__W. My account. My real account. I froze. Emma, I whispered. You tagged me. She stared at me calmly. You said you wanted to stop hiding. My phone exploded with pings.
Friends.
Coworkers. Old classmates. Comments started rolling in. Wait, is this you? Alex. Dude, what's going on? You look amazing, but I'm confused. I backed away from the couch, panic rising. Emma, I'm not ready. They know now, my job, my friends, everyone's gonna. She grabbed my hand and pulled me close. Let them wonder. But what if they judge me? She smiled. Then they were never really looking at you, in the first place. The screen refreshed. More comments. Some supportive. Some confused. One simple one. Alexandra? I stared at it and couldn't stop smiling.